Hi everyone, it's Little Blue and you're listening to my podcast, aka Little Blue, on Friday evening. We have made it to the end of the week. I've got to start though with a bit of a confession, and you might want to call it a slight warning. Basically, today I've had a total of 4 coffees and I've only just had the 4th. So big apologies if I'm slightly buzzy in this podcast. Basically, went out for breakfast this morning with my friend. We had a coffee and a wrap, and while we were eating that wrap, we could see the counter and the lovely yummy cakes. And had a cake and then another coffee before we left. And we both left that garden centre shaky and buzzy and just full of caffeine and sugar. So that kind of went down. It went down quite well, because then picked up baby Blue, went off to Waitrose to go shopping with my mum and dad, and my mum bought me a packet of the Nescafe vanilla lattes that I like. They're like little sachets. Sainsbury's have been out of them for weeks, and I've been getting really upset because I love drinking tea, but it just doesn't have the same kick as coffee, I'm afraid. And so I got home. By the time we'd got home, it was quite a long time sort of being out, because we went to Waitrose, then I popped to Sainsbury's to get a few bits that I get in there, and then walked home. And so by the time we got home, baby Blue was a little bit tired, she was hungry, a little bit whiny. I mean, you shut the front door, don't you? And then the kids sort of go from being that sweet little social angel to Kevin and Perry. So I thought, better have a coffee so I can deal with this. Had another coffee then, and then everything was fine. We had dinner, we'd had a normal evening. I put her to bed, and then I was really cold, so I just wanted a hot drink. Put the kettle on, out thinking about it. Put the sachet in the cup, put the water in the cup, and I was sort of halfway through it when I thought, this is my 4th coffee. What am I doing? So yes, apologies if I'm a little bit buzzy, but I'm also feeling quite good. And I think the fact that I've had coffee today, considering it's the first time I've had coffee in about 2 weeks, maybe, like at home, it actually has given me a little bit of a kick up the bum, because if you've been listening to my podcast recently, you might have noticed that since the end of the year, I've been quite low. I've been very undermotivated, and I've really struggled again with my PTSD. And after feeling so great at Christmas time, it's really hit me quite hard. And I think a lot of it was to do with financial stresses and other sort of boring domestic stuff. And for me, this is something I find particularly hard. A lot of my personal PTSD symptoms come from when I feel like I'm going to be told off or get into trouble. So obviously PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. And I think when you hear that, you often think of people who have been in very sort of awful situations, like soldiers out in Afghanistan, or people who have experienced war, people who have seen awful, horrendous things happen to other people or to animals or to things like that. People who have lost limbs and all sort of more physical and have awful things happen to you, like maybe you've been attacked or something along those lines. But PTSD can also be from long-term emotional abuse. It can be from long-term neglect from a partner or from a parent or somebody that you just live with. It can be a constant, constantly being put down and made to feel worthless. All those sorts of things can still contribute to PTSD. Even childbirth. If you've had a really stressful labour, a lot of mothers can have PTSD afterwards. And so for me, really simple tasks can prove to be quite hard and very stressful. And it's almost like this is how I explained it to my outreach worker. It's almost like my head becomes a tangled up necklace. You know, when you leave a necklace sometimes and it just gets in loads and loads of knots, but you can't see where each individual strand is to pull that necklace apart and unravel it. And if it gets bad, that's how my head feels. It's like I know there's all these things I've got to do, but I can't pinpoint them. I can't for the life of me work out how to untangle that web to make it all clear and easy again so I can wear that necklace. And yeah, basically today I've had this looming over me since Christmas, and basically there's an issue with one of my bills, and I went to sort the bill out just before Christmas, and it was getting looked into, and I was told someone would contact me, and no one's contacted me. And then at the beginning of the year I sent a message to my outreach worker saying, do you think I should contact them? Should I chase this up? Because I've not heard anything. They said, no, they said they contact you. So just wait. And it's getting too close to the end of January and still nothing's happened. So I thought, you know what? I need to do something about this. And all this week I've been really meaning to do it every single day, but I've just been too stressed. And as soon as I get to that place, I'm like, I shake it off almost, like, no, I can't think about this now. My brain cannot deal with this, and I get all stressed and shaky, and then I just have to, there's so much going on. When you're a single parent, you have to be doing stuff all day, every day. And then I've got work, and I've got this, and I've got that, and I've got to do this, and that, blah, blah, blah. It all gets on top of you. And then today, I've had all this coffee, and I've got lots of motivation. Had a really good morning, and I felt calmer. As I keep saying, if you do something for you, you always feel better. Your head feels a lot calmer. And I sat down when we got home and I just thought, I've got to tackle this. I need to do it. Otherwise, it's going to be looming over me. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. And I started catastrophizing, which is another symptom of PTSD. You think the worst case scenarios. So I was thinking we were going to get kicked out on the streets and all of this sort of stuff. And it's ludicrous if you knew the actual situation. It's completely ludicrous, but it's where your head goes. And what I did was I stopped telling myself, well, I can't do this because, I can't do this because. And I thought, right, how can I do this? How can I make this possible? So basically, I have a pay-as-you-go phone. It hasn't got any credit on it. So I have no way of ringing people when I'm at home. And then I suddenly remembered O2 do this thing where you can get your money back. So you either save it up or you can claim that money. And I had some saved up. So I thought, I'll claim that money so I can have credit on my phone. Got enough credit on my phone to then ring the company. And the first thing I opened with was, please excuse me sounding panicked or worried. I have PTSD and I really struggle with this. Because I was open, because I was honest to him, the first thing he said to me was, that's okay. Don't worry. If you need a pause, you tell me. We'll work through this together. And once I knew he was sympathetic, he understood, and he was going to be kind, it just sort of like this wave of relief just over me. And I was like, thank you so much for being so kind. And we went through everything. And what had actually happened was the paperwork had actually gone to him personally. So I was speaking to the right person. He said, I did deal with this case, and I can see how long ago I dealt with this case. And I can also see I forgot to email you. And I'm very sorry for that. He goes, but I can confirm nothing has happened. So no one's going to be turning up at your door. Nothing like this is going to happen. It's not going to be going to court. It's not going to be doing this. So I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we've worked out a little strategy together, and now we're working through it together. But what I want to say to everyone, to people listening, if you're going through financial difficulties, if you are going through some, any issues really that feel very adult, like bills and issues at home, not knowing, I don't know, it could be anything. But if you are struggling, my advice would be honest. If you are finding it stressful and hard to talk about, let them know. When you ring them, like say you're ringing your gas company, your water company, your electricity company, whoever, say, hello, I've got an issue. I'm really struggling with it. I'm finding it quite stressful, so please forgive me if I sound a little bit like upset or something like that. Just explain it to them, because sometimes if you don't and you're bottling it all in, you can explode. And I've done that too. I just lost it when they told me something and I was like, oh my God, that was so not me. That was just not me. But the best thing to do is to be honest about your situation. If you are struggling to meet a bill, say to them, okay, this month we've been using a lot more heating, it's been very cold, and I'm just struggling to pay that extra money. Is there anything your company can do to help me? There might be. Quite a lot of companies like British Gas or EDF or I don't know, the water companies, they do actually have stuff in place for people who are struggling. A lot of charities have been set up as well. I know locally we have a charity, because it's quite a well-off area. There are a lot of pensioners who don't actually need their heating allowance. They get like £100, I think it is, towards heating costs. And a lot of people around here don't actually need it. So they donate that money to a charity, and then that charity will have people suggested to help them out with their arrears, basically, on heating and electricity. And I know this because a few years ago I went to Citizens Advice because we had quite bad electricity and gas arrears, and they suggested this company for us, and we thankfully never had to use it, but they suggested it for us. So there are always people around that can help, but you have to face up to the realities. You have to say to someone, this is happening, I don't know what to do, please help me, tell me what I need to do to sort this out, I just want to sort this out. And people will. They will point you in the right direction, because nobody wants to feel like they're going to be told off. and for me, it's such a big relief that I've sorted this out today, and now I can sort of look forward to the next issue. Let's say, and I've got a few things I'm sorting out at the moment, but that was the biggest one. So for me, I can relax, I can have a nice weekend without it looming over me, and I can move on to think about the next thing. And I would really urge any of you who are struggling just to be honest. And even if it's a case of not going to the company, but going to a friend who will help you and hold your hand. Because I only got this issue sorted out because I told my outreach worker about it and said, I'm really struggling just to get to talk to them, because I just panic. As soon as I pick up the phone, I just panic and I can't actually talk because I'm too panicky. So she came with me. She said, right, let's go there. We'll go to their door, we'll go in, we'll talk to them, and I will be there with you. And just because I had her there with me, it did the world of good. So if you've got a friend or a relative, take them with you, let them help you, because once you have sorted it out, once you have got it out of the way and you feel like you're contributing towards it, you're going to relax and you're going to feel so much better. There is no point ignoring it. There is no point in waiting it out. There's no point in forgetting it. You have to do this sort of thing. You have to try and sort it out. But anyway, I personally right now feel so much better. I feel so much better for doing all of that today. And I feel so productive. I am going to give the coffee some credit for it. But I would not suggest drinking 4 coffees just to get yourself motivated. The thing is, you have to, it's not bravery, but you have to have that mental willpower to do it. And that's the hard part. Anyway, that's Baby Blue waking up, so I'm going to have to go. But have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Take care of yourselves.